I just think that something's not right.
Follow me, I like to get poppin', but these bitches in my business got me out here choosing violence. If you see me out in public, you don't know me, keep it silent. In the bedroom, I be screaming, but outside I keep it quiet. You know what I'm saying?
So I know everybody's been hearing about the ongoing Nolan Wells case that started on July 4th when we heard that he was missing. The Nolan Wells case is still an active investigation, so everything that I say in this video will be used in an alleged tone. Nothing can be set in stone because not everything is proven. The investigation is still going. Let's get into the information for those who don't know. Nolan Xavier Wells was an 18-year-old boy from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. He had recently graduated from Ocean Springs High School and he was on his way to go be a wide receiver who was committed to play for Southwest Community College. Friends and family described him as athletic, outgoing, a strong swimmer, and his mom specifically described him as very sweet and very loving. This all started on Friday, July 3rd. According to Nolan's mother, Nolan cooked dinner for his parents, he hugged his mom goodbye, and he spent the night with his friends before planning his boat trip for the 4th of July to Horn Island. On Saturday, July 4th of 2026, in the morning, a group of friends left from a private dock near Ocean Springs for Horn Island, which is part of the Gulf Islands of the National Seashore. Some key things to note are the fact that Horn Island is only accessible by boat. There are no permanent facilities on Horn Island. There is little to no reliable cell service reported on Horn Island. Horn Island is surrounded by currents that can become dangerous. Authorities estimated there were 300 to 400 young individuals celebrating 4th of July on Horn Island, including Nolan. So during the daytime, this is where the timeline becomes uncertain. There was a viral argument video that circulated online. Authorities never actually confirmed that Nolan was involved in any altercation or argument though. Trayston Shepard, I think the name is, was one of Nolan's quote-unquote friends who reportedly said that that was him arguing in the video and he was having an argument with his girlfriend. Apparently, from what Trayston said was that Nolan was not involved in that argument. Now it's confirmed that investigators did ask anyone who had videos, Snapchat memories, photos, or eyewitnesses accounts to submit them, and particularly if it was showing a video of Nolan in an altercation. Again, like I said initially in the video that went viral, people thought that they heard Nolan yelling. Attorney Ben Crump repeated that multiple people identified the voice as Nolan. Trayston Shepard said that the voice was his, and law enforcement has yet to say that the voice was Nolan. So now we have the phone controversy, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard about. One of the biggest mysteries in the case involves Nolan's cell phone. Facts that we do know are that Nolan never returned to the shore, but his phone did, and his car keys. His mom tracked his phone's location after the group had came back to shore using the app of Life 360. She later said after going through the phone that messages had been deleted. She believes that the phone was tampered with and that she finds that suspicious, but authorities have not yet publicly confirmed whether messages were actually deleted. This is the central issue of the case. There's a lot of conflicting stories here. According to Nolan's friends, several of them have maintained that Nolan met a girl, he wanted to stay behind, he told them to leave, they expected him to get another ride back. One friend, Warren Hudson, had reportedly said that they did not intentionally abandon Nolan, believed that he wanted to remain on the island. According to the girl in question, Ben Crump, the attorney, stated that the girl said something different. She allegedly said that Nolan told her that he was returning to the boat and not staying behind. If accurate, that directly conflicts with the friends' versions. Authorities have not yet publicly released her statement. Around 11 p.m. on July 4th, one of Nolan's friends notified the Coast Guard that Nolan was missing. The Coast Guard said the report did not initially require Coast Guard assistance. Nolan's mother also reported him missing that night after being unable to locate him. Now we're at Sunday, July 5th. Search efforts are continuing to evolve because now we haven't seen Nolan for hours. Jackson County Sheriff's Office, National Park Service, the Coast Guard, Mississippi Marine Patrol, and volunteers are all looking for Nolan. On Monday, July 6th, 2026, around 8:45 a.m., a National Park Service ranger found Nolan's body. They found him in the water near the northwestern tip of Horn Island. The Jackson County coroner later confirmed the identity that it was Nolan. Sheriff John Ledbetter emphasized the investigation would be treated like any suspicious death while investigators continued gathering evidence. There are 4 witness statements here. Warren Hudson, who was allegedly a friend, publicly stated that Nolan wanted to stay behind. The group believed he had another ride. They never intended to abandon him, and they have cooperated with investigators. Trayston Shepard, who was another alleged friend, publicly stated that the yelling in the video was him. Rumors surrounding the video were false. Sheriff John Ledbetter said, Investigators are reviewing every single possibility. Anybody with photos or videos should submit them. The investigation remains active. Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, have publicly questioned why was his phone returned without him, why were his car keys returned without him, why were the witness stories conflicting, and whether investigators moved quickly enough, and with enough urgency. They have repeatedly said that they were seeking transparency rather than assuming the particular cause of death. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump has been representing the family. He has argued that there are contradictions in the witness statements, unanswered questions, reasons for an independent investigation. He has also raised concerns about racial bias affecting the case, affecting the urgency of the investigators, noting that Nolan was the only black member of the group. The family hired independent pathologist Roger Mitchell. Preliminary findings included, as of right now, July 23rd, the cause of death is undetermined. The manner of death is undetermined. Decomposition prevented definitive conclusions. Red discoloration noted on the back of the head, but its significance could not be determined. Portions of the neck and throat are unavailable because they had been retained by the examiner. But Dr. Mitchell said that body parts being retained can be standard routine forensic practice. The autopsy did not include homicide, drowning, or accidental death. The official Mississippi autopsy has not yet been publicly released. District Attorney Angel Myers McRath, has said it will remain sealed while the investigation proceeds and evidence is presented to a grand jury. After public criticism, the district attorney issued a statement saying, investigators are actively reviewing evidence, witnesses' interviews continue, releasing information prematurely could jeopardize the investigation. Findings will ultimately be presented to a grand jury. So what we do have confirmed, Nolan traveled to Horn Island on July 4th. He disappeared that evening. He was reported missing. His phone and keys returned to the shore without him. His body was found July 6th near Horn Island. The investigation does remain active. No cause or manner of death has been determined. No arrests or criminal charges have been made. What is disputed, whether Nolan intended on staying behind, whether he was returning to the boat, whether there was a physical altercation involving him, whether his phone was altered, whether he accidentally drowned or died from another cause, whether investigative delays or racial bias infected the case. There are some common rumors that are involved with the case. Everything is alleged though, nothing is proven. Some people think that Nolan was beaten to death. Some people think it was a cover-up involving influential families. Some people think the viral argument is Nolan fighting. There's some rumors that multiple witnesses saw Nolan being assaulted. There's some quote-unquote AI-enhanced audio proving what Nolan said. And there's some alleged social media confessions. Several of these claims have later been contradicted by people directly involved, or they remain unsupported by publicly released evidence. Bottom line, as of now, investigators have not yet publicly concluded whether Nolan Wells died by accidental drowning, homicide, or another cause. The family's independent autopsy was inconclusive. The official autopsy has not been released, and the case is expected to be reviewed by a grand jury after the investigation is complete. When there's more updates to the case, I'll come back here and make a part 2. I know this isn't my regular content, but I want to start getting into it. My name is Via. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the post notifications. If you're new here, hi, hello. If you're not new here, welcome back.